looking back at week 17 to get ready for week 18 coming up this weekend. Obviously, a lot of good things offensively, Chew, but where I want to start today ends up being I want to start with the defense, because I think there are some things, obviously they did well, but let's see if it was more mistakes Minnesota made, at least with the interception the Packers had, before we get to some of the good offensive stuff we saw out of the Green Bay Packers this weekend. So I want to start with this INT that happened in the early in the game. So just tell me what you see here. Is this more good defense by the Packers, or is this just mistakes being made by the Minnesota Vikings?
Okay, so empty backfield right now. It's just looking like cover 3, which it was, tip. Just straight cover 3. The little difference in the corners up top there, a runaway technique, baiting bump. That's more on the quarterback. That's just good, solid. I mean, even if that guy does catch the ball, it's for a minimal gain. But it's interesting just to see what Barry's doing with these corners and the different kind of technique. One, if you look up top, it looks like he's going to be in bump, and they both cover a run out. They cover it well. It's a crossing route. Packers run the same thing. That's just 2 crossers underneath that are stopping in zone. This one's more of a quarterback errant throw than it is the defense, but they're all in the right spot, technically sound, and it was just a good play. Very good play.
All right. Then we don't have to go too much farther after this interception, because one of the things that we've talked about throughout the course of this year, and now when we get to this offense, I'm going to try to slow some of these things down. But one of the things that we've talked about is deep ball and the deep ball accuracy. And this was one that they pointed out, certainly on the broadcast, because no feet were on the ground here for Jaden Reed after, again, we're just kind of catching the tail end play. But no feet were on the ground for this deep ball here from Jordan Love, which just ended up being one of the bigger plays of the game on this touchdown.
Okay, it's just a balanced set. 2 up top, 2 down below. Defense looks like looks just like a version of cover 3. Just a great throw. This is what we used to run. It looks like a version of all go, where it's just spacing across the top. Now, if you look now, even Reed brings that in a little too much, okay? If the quarterback wants you in that area, he'll throw the ball there. That would be my only critique. Because if you look at his route, Gabe, he should have just continued 3. It's 3 yards inside the numbers, right? To stay away from the far safety. Let the quarterback be your eyes.
Right? Yeah, because he almost brings that backside safety into the play. I see what you're saying.
The backside guy in, and if that safety gets a little more depth, he's going to knock you out. And that's what you want to avoid, and that's what the quarterback tries to avoid. My only thing is stay in your lane, just stay vertical. Let's see what he does. Can you go to the wide?
Yeah, we can go back to the wide. Yep.
I just want to see if his shoulders bring him inside. That's why I've been so adamant about just turn your head. Every time you turn your shoulders, it's going to bring you with. I mean, that's not bad, but you see how he's got his shoulders? If he just turns his head, that'll keep you vertical. As soon as you turn your shoulders, it's going to pull you inside. So, I mean, I'm nitpicking here. It's just a great play. It's spacing's a big part of this. And, they're getting better. They're not all the way there. But from the start of the season, they've moved miles, and I would think it would get better and better, and hopefully these coaches are just making these small points to make it perfect. That's what you shoot for, even though you're probably not ever going to get there.
So this next play I want to take a look at was one of the bigger ones from Bo Melton. And what I really liked about this play, Chew, is so clearly there's pressure. We'll see the pressure coming. And Jordan Love just kind of sees an open area field. He knows a guy is going to be there, and he just throws it out to Bo Melton to let him make the play instead of taking a sack. So what do you see here?
Well, great play. All I would say, who's that bottom receiver? Is that Wicks? Don't ever throw your hand up. See how he throws his hand up?
Yeah, that's Romeo Doubs, by the way.
It's a natural thing to do when you're open, but I've always been taught never throw your hand up. It's not gonna, if the quarterback's looking, he's not looking. That's just a good adjustment by Melton. That's more of a screw up by 44. Just go back one more time. I want to see what kind of coverage they're playing here. I mean, this is cover one. To me, 44 just drops them. Sorry, it's cover 0, Gabe, where it's just man across the board. But it's a great adjustment by Melton. It's a great adjustment by Love. And other than the hand going up, I don't see a problem with this play at all. I mean, it's just a good awareness by Melton.
So let's just talk about that for a second, because I feel like so many of these guys grew up, and obviously your career crossed paths with Randy Moss as he was just coming into the league. But that's the old Randy Moss thing. You hear that all the time on these highlight shows. You know, you throw the mailbox up, and that's, you know, that's what Randy always used to do. So I feel like a lot of the receivers who grew up watching that now do that in the NFL as well, where they think that they've got that deep route open. They got that Randy Moss hand coming up.
Well, when you're 6'4" and you run a 4.2, yeah, you could probably get away with that. But all putting your hand up is going to do is slow you down. You know, I mean, it's nitpicking. It's like jumping, Gabe. That, you know, coaches always tell you, do not jump unless you have to. You know, it's a bad habit to get into, and if they nip it in the bud this early, it's you got to be special, is what I'm saying, in order to do it. And I don't think Devontae Wicks falls into the special category yet.
So there's not really much to this next play. It ends up being the Jaden Reed second touchdown, but I just want to know your thoughts on the route that Reed runs, and then his ability to run after catch. Because I think what we've seen with Jaden Reed is he's starting to kind of separate himself from the other receivers of, oh, maybe this guy ends up being the special, you know, the best one out of this group of 4 receivers that we've liked so much. So Reed ends up here at the top here, Chew, comes down in motion, and just kind of gets it and is able to do with individual effort, get this ball into the end zone.
Okay, so right now, you know, it's man. They're going, this would be a force sky look, we call it, and then they're going back to, that's more of a robber look with their safety. So that's another thing that these guys are getting better at, is recognizing coverages. And Reed does a good job of avoiding him and going flat. That's just, it's a simple, what we'd call a Texas route, where he's out and then underneath. He's the primary receiver. And if you look, you had Kraft as well. Watch Kraft here. If he waited a little longer, see how he pops. Because the safety drops him. Watch Kraft.
Yeah, because the safety starts seeing Reed coming over the middle, so he bails over the middle.
Now that's something they look at for the future, and that's more on Jordan, like, because he wasn't rushed. It's just like, be patient. There is a blitz. And I guess, I mean, he still probably had time to deliver it, but it worked out, and it turned out to be a nice play.
Yeah, he just ends up being special there. And then, of course,
that's a really good play by Reed. Being patient on the Texas route and then avoiding that robber.
And then, because the run game has been just such a big part of what the Packers have done the last 2 weeks as well, with Aaron Jones being healthy. He goes over 100 yards for the second consecutive game, just the second time in his career in which he's done that. So I want to take a look at an explosive run for him that really kind of kicked off the second half for the Packers here. Just what do you see? Because the offensive line, the one thing, if you look at Pro Football Focus, you hear people talk about offensive line play, is that, hey, they've done a really good job pass blocking, but run blocking hasn't been their strength. So we could take a look at this in both angles, obviously, Chew, but it ends up being a 25-yard run.
So it's blitz. So all they do is man up there. They blitz up top. Nice run by Jones. Go to the tight copy so I can see it a little better. So they're blitzing to the right of the screen.
Yeah, you see Harrison Smith coming crashing in there.
It's a good track by the center. He's just, and he kind of whiffs, but you want that guy to go underneath.
Okay.
Good block by the right guard. Good block by Tom. It's just man on man, just doing a nice job. The only thing is I would tell the center just to slow down a little bit because he's blocking a faster guy.
Yeah, because he's
But he
uncovered. He's
lets
looking
him
for his guy to
go.
block and just
You
gets out in
see, he
front of
lets
himself.
him go the only place he can go, right? If you're going to lose to that side. It's just a good awareness, good run, hat on hat, cover everyone up, and let Aaron Jones do his thing. So that's what you get when you have a nice balanced offense. When you
I'm
throw
not
the
even.
ball well in your in turn, then you're going to run the ball well.
What have you seen, I guess, just before we even head into the final game of the regular season? We've only been doing this about half the season, just kind of picking up some of these as we go. What's been the most impressive thing that you've seen in growth, taking a look at this film for the young Packers offense?
Well, if you look, I mean, I'll take the offensive line first. If you go back to the beginning of the season, I mean, they had whoever the pundits had this offensive line ranked as one of the top, and then they fell into a hole where they really weren't meshing well together. There was questions at left tackle. They were rotating, but you see how coaching and the growth, they're starting to get it now, on the offensive line, and obviously playing with the same five guys throughout most of the year is a huge advantage. You're not plugging guys in, and then from the pass catching side of the things, you know how I talked about spacing in the beginning of the season, how their spacing was off. They were off. They weren't hitting their benchmarks. Now you see it. So the growth happened actually a lot faster than I thought. I thought it would take a lot longer, but you see what spacing does. It puts so much stress on the defense when you hit your landing spots, and they're just going to get better and better. And like I said, I mean, this season's all about the offense. I feel really good in the years to come with this group of players that they have, and it's been encouraging to see it. But my main takeaway, Gabe, is it happened a lot faster than I thought it was, based upon how they started the season.
Well, we'll review the game next week. Hopefully, it'll be the Packers win. But either way, we'll be back here reviewing Week 18 on Week in Reach You.